Welcome to the Q Music Podcast. My name's Jake, here with my co-host Brian, where we talk about everything there is to do with music. Today's conversation, talking about the best and possibly the worst album of the year 2024.
Happy New Year, Jake.
Happy New Year, Brian. 2024.
What a year.
What a year, right? Crazy year. Coming into ourselves, I feel like.
Yeah,
Trying to find our way.
Another year older.
Ooh.
Thank you so much.
Just begun.
So this is Christmas.
Wow, you killed it.
Thanks so much.
We've been doing Beatles impressions for quite some time now, so
Yeah.
if you didn't like that,
Too bad.
sorry.
But yeah, welcome to a new year. And why not reflect and take a look back at the year 2024. What was good? What was bad? What was top of the list for the public? What was top of the list for us personally? And let's take it away, shall we?
Sounds pretty brat to me.
I hated that. I hated that you said that.
So 2024.
Jake is so cool.
I'm killing it. 2024, right? My experience with the year, music-wise, right? I'm looking back at all of the records I had the privilege and sometimes not the privilege of hearing, and a lot of it is in like April and March. Like I have a bunch of records logged here that I have myself listening to in March and April, and then maybe like a little bit in August and September. But other than that, I feel like my music listening habits this year kind of went down.
I agree. Honestly, I really listened to not that much stuff that like
Right.
is like fresh 2024 stuff. Like, to be honest with you, I really dove into a lot of not obscure things, but like very
Older.
specific time. Like I would just jump into the entire discography of somebody
Sure.
with stuff that came out in like 94 or like whatever. Like, for example, big fan of the Pet Shop Boys.
Facts.
Earlier this year, I just decided to jump into their
Wait,
discography for no reason.
Did we get into that this year? Was that this year? That
Well,
we
it
both
was-
started
it was-
listening to that
It was just
behavior?
early. No, we listened to
Or
that
was that
before.
last year?
It was last year we started listening to.
But this
shout
year-
out
yeah,
Behavior
shout
by
out.
Pet Shop Boys, 1990,
Amazing album.
fantastic album. But I just decided.
But
to
you
just
jumped
jump
into the discog this
Yeah,
year.
I did that with a
Gotcha.
lot of artists. I did that with Steely Dan this year, just
Elite.
for random reasons, and then just like other stuff as in my travels or searches amongst the charts of like I really dove into specific genres and subgenres. So for a while, I jumped into like when I was on the Pet Shop Boys kick, I jumped into like the best of synth pop.
Right.
Or like electro pop, dance pop, like very specific subgenres of pop,
Totally.
or electric or synth.
Yeah.
So not much of the 2024 era had that stuff going on. It was mainly early 90s, late 80s stuff.
Now, you want to talk about jumping into a genre. Let me tell you all a little story about what most of my music listening journey revolved around this year.
Oh my
and
God.
Brian actually has a little bit of a hand in this. So
I do?
you do. You actually do.
I thought you were going somewhere else with this.
In May of this year, during a visit from my in-laws, actually, I got into this artist, Jeff Lorber.
Oh my God, Jeff Lorber. Yeah, that's right. That consumed your year.
He is
Jeff
a
Lorber.
He
Shout
is
out.
a smooth shout out. He is a smooth jazz artist from the 80s and 90s. Still making music now, but I think a bulk of his main catalog is from the 80s to maybe 2005. And let me just shout out 3 albums, right? State of Grace, Private Passion, West Side Stories. I got into Private Passion first. Great album. Super, super good. Like pure 80s magic right there. But then I started listening to West Side Stories, and I sent it to Brian. I sent it to you, Brian.
Yes, you did.
And I said, this sounds like something. This is just so good. And you said, this sounds like sexy Weather Channel music.
I did. I think it was pretty spot on.
I think it's the most spot on description of something you've ever given, because that's exactly what it is. And I gotta say, that's probably like my favorite listen of like old, but that I had
old
this
of the year.
year.
Okay,
right.
So your favorite musical awakening from earlier in the year.
Right. It has to be that, or going back and really diving into Donald Fagen's comic period.
I did the same.
Yeah.
I think honestly that this is a nice little tidbit. My favorite of the year 2024 in terms of not 2024 stuff, I dove into a lot of George Harrison this year.
Ah.
Yeah.
And which one came out on top?
The first album, his first solo album from 1970, All Things Must Pass,
Right.
was like fantastic.
Is it on par? Because of course, huge Beatles fans.
Uh-huh.
Is it on par with Let It Be?
It's better than Let It Be.
It's better than Let It Be.
Absolutely.
Is it on par with Rubber Soul?
Better than Rubber Soul.
Is it on par with Magical Mystery Tour?
Better than Magical Mystery Tour.
Is it on par? I'm going to keep going. Is it on par with Revolver?
No.
Okay. So we've drawn the line there. Is it on par with Abbey Road?
Even.
Wow.
I'd say it's even.
Dude, that's crazy.
You haven't listened to All Things Must Pass front to back?
I have at one point,
good.
but I couldn't sit here and tell you the track list like I could with the Beatles records
fair.
from the late 60s
Yeah.
and 1970. Because
You definitely recognize a lot of tracks.
it's
from
funny because like if you would have asked me, I would have said, and again, Beatles, episode to come at one point.
Yeah.
But I would have said Magical Mystery Tour was the one I preferred at one point. But going back to the discography and listening to them again, I'm loving Abbey Road. I'm just loving it.
Abbey Road's got some good stuff.
But All Things Must Pass. And I know your opinion on Sgt. Pepper's. Not as good as that.
No,
Okay.
that's the best one. Now it's funny, like we so that goes to show that for the year 2024, it kind of seemed like we did more investigation / dipped our toes into other stuff that maybe we just didn't have our ear to the ground in terms of newer stuff coming out. Like, of course, yeah, we'd listened to plenty of stuff that came out in 2024, but we found ourselves going back to a lot of older stuff or investigating the other stuff that didn't come out this year.
Absolutely.
Now, that's not a good thing or a bad thing in terms of describing what did come out in 2024, because there was a lot of good stuff that came out in 2024.
There's
so
some
what
stuff in there.
Jake and I are going to discuss here today our top 3 albums that came out in 2024, not what we were listening to in 2024, albums that were released in the year of 2024. Top 3, we're going to start with the bronze, go to the silver. We're going to talk a little bit about something else before we reveal our gold medalist.
Let's go with
the Simone
bronze.
Biles of our listening for 2024. So, yeah, let's start off with the bronze medal. Jake, start us off with the 3rd place of your top albums of 2024.
Taking home the bronze is my current GOAT in the hip-hop scene right now, taking his 10,000th victory lap of the year, as he so rightfully deserves, is Mr. Kendrick Lamar with his surprise drop GNX that released on November 22nd, 2024 of this year. I felt like, before I talk about the music quickly, I felt like that release was being part of music history.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That-
They'll write articles about that this year and forever.
That release, like, again, things seem to happen when I'm with my in-laws. But I'm with my in-laws again, and I see that that post come up, and my brother sent me the album, and we were both like, holy crap, it's over, just everything from the beats themselves, right? Luther, Dodger Blue, Heart Part 6, Squabble Up. All of those songs are masterpieces, but also produced beautifully. Jack Antonoff producing that album.
Sounds like a classical music composer.
Yeah, Mr. Jack Antonoff here on cello. After doing like Tortured Poets Department Society, I don't know, whatever it is.
It's Society.
I don't know if it is.
It's Poets Society, not. What did you say?
I think you're thinking of Dead Poets Society. I think that's the whole joke. I think you just fell into the Tortured Poets Department.
It's definitely not Department. There's no way.
It's
Department? Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Shout out to my sister-in-law. She's going to hate this.
Fail.
Ouch.
You know, coming from doing that and then going and doing an album like GNX is really, really impressive. And I loved it. And just all of the Drake references, too, still killing him for being awful. So
They Not
good.
Like Us wasn't on that album, right?
No, that was a single.
Single, that's what I thought.
Yeah, neither was Meet the Grams and neither was Euphoria.
Right.
All of those are singles. That were released in May.
Talk about a chokehold on like society for a couple of months when that song came out.
Oh, we'll get there, my friend. How about your bronze medal? What do you
My
got?
bronze medal is I'm just gonna be honest, it's weird. But I just enjoyed the chill nature of it. It was my bronze medal is an album called Endlessness by Nala Senefro.
Okay.
And if you like chill wave kind of stuff, if you like jazz, if you like a little,
You like jazz?
yeah. And if you like a little electronic / techno in there, imagine all that combined with some of like a more mellow aspect than chill wave.
Interesting.
Not a heavy kick in terms of drums or beats or anything like that. So more of a laid back version of chill wave, but still has very strong aspects of jazz. Like imagine if you were to take John Coltrane,
Okay.
and mix that with like more of a really mellow house sort of thing, kind of like Washed Out.
Okay.
So if you put a more mellow Washed Out with John Coltrane, that's what this sounded like.
Very interesting.
Very relaxing. Like I just put it on in the car and I'm on autopilot just driving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just smooth and nice, but it's not like I'm gonna fall asleep kind of smooth and nice.
I was just about to ask, is this something that is going to put me to sleep?
No,
or?
I don't think so. I mean, it will relax you for sure, and if that puts people to sleep, then so be it. But it's very chill, so it's kind of more laid back. But there are like random like sounds or it's not droned by any means.
Gotcha. It's not just like a
No,
yeah,
not at all. Like
okay.
there's definitely a lot of melody and cool jazz aspects of it that will definitely capture and keep your attention.
Okay.
And the cool thing about this is like because it's like I wouldn't call it a symphony because that's a little bit too, but it's like more of like a jazzy kind of jam. Every song is named Continuum, and the track list is Continuum 1, Continuum 2, Continuum 3, all the way up to Continuum 10. Like it's not like just random names of songs. It just goes from Continuum 1 to through.
So
Continuum 10.
as I'm looking at this, so this came out in September.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at the three like main genres that one of our most frequently visited music cataloging websites has for it.
Shout out,
Rate Your Music, thank you. Jazz fusion, progressive electronic, and space ambient.
Yeah, it's cool.
Which one of those three do you think best describes that record? Because
Say what are they again?
they're jazz fusion,
Uh-huh.
progressive electronic, and space ambient.
I think jazz fusion would probably be the best.
Because
way to describe
I have not heard this.
it's very good. I highly recommend.
All right.
Check it out. That was my bronze medal. Like definitely cool for 2024, but nowhere near the best stuff I've heard for 2024.
So, Brian, if you don't mind,
Yes.
we happen to share silver medal picks.
We do.
We are we're happy to say that our silver medal pick here at the Q is True Magic by Salute, who's
mm.
an English producer, DJ. Wow.
Yeah, all I gotta say to this album is God damn, because it's so good.
It's so good.
It is. I like this album came out in July of 2024.
Oh yeah.
You sent it to me long ago, and I just never got around to listening to it. And I listened. The first time I listened to this album was maybe October.
I have the date at which you rated it.
Oh yeah, when is it?
September 30th.
Okay, so
you were basically right there.
Yeah, mid to late September is when I listened to this for the first time.
Yep.
I listened to this album so much for the last just few months of the year, and 3 out of the 5 songs that were the most listened to in my Spotify Wrapped were from this album.
Wow.
That's how much I listened to this album. It's so good.
So the 3 genres that this album has that are attached to it are French house, speed garage, and UK garage.
Right. Like if I walked into, like I've said this before, if I walked into like a DJ, set, or like a club or something like that, a rave if you will, and like the DJ rave. If I walked into one of those situations and the DJ just played this album from the beginning to the end, I would have an amazing time.
And I think that's like what you're
Don't even touch anything, just hit go.
That's what you're looking for with like house music, right?
Yeah.
You're not looking for something super fragmented. You're looking for something that's cohesive and carries that euphoria from start to finish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the first song is literally Start.
Yeah.
So
what's your favorite tracks? Being that it is, we share this one. What's your favorite one?
So the tracks that I have highlighted here from when I first gave this a listen are Saving Flowers. Obviously, that has the feature of Rina Sawayama. Rina. A great pop artist from this decade. I am a fan of One of Those Nights by Empress, with a feature by Empress of. That's a great song. I love
But what's
System.
your favorite? What's your favorite?
I don't know. I'm going
There's got to be
through.
one above the others.
I think if I were to pick one, it's probably Saving Flowers.
That the classic. That one's so good.
What about you?
System is my favorite.
System?
For sure.
I was just about to say System's probably like right there
Yeah.
though. Very close.
Okay, like by the way, guys, if we're going track by track, or like if you haven't heard these albums and like what we're saying makes no sense to you, why don't you go ahead and pause at any time?
Please.
Listen to some of the songs or the albums that we're talking about. Then maybe you can join in the conversation a little bit more. Or if you're like enjoying what we're saying, like, oh, that's interesting, I'll have to check that out later. Do that. Whatever floats your boat. But highly recommend that you listen to all this stuff.
Check
That's
the
why we're
playlists.
talking about it. It's so
Check
fantastic.
the playlist that we link.
Yes.
We're going to be linking all of the music that we talk about in playlists down below and on the website that we have for you. So
And
check that out.
Remind
and
our listeners of that URL once
that is
more.
the QMusicReviews.com.
Yes. Check those out there. Playlists, recommendations. We'll put those on there in case you forgot when we are mentioning them now.
Just a consistent record, True Magic is. I think Salute does a really, really nice job here and gets some really cool features and an album that we might be talking about in 5 years when we do our decade wrap-up.
Oh my God. Yeah, very true.
But before the decade, right, we have to finish talking about the year. And before we reveal our gold medal winners, we got to talk about some songs first, right? Let's put some spotlights on some songs, some pop songs from 2024.
Yeah. And I think the best way to do that would be to play one of our favorite segments, Bop or Flop.
Hit it.
Bop or Flop, we are going to talk about our songs in terms of these were the most selling or the top streamed, or
These were the most listened to songs,
Okay.
most streamed songs that we found on Spotify, was it?
Correct.
Spotify.
So this is the top hits of 2024 on Spotify. It's a very, very popular playlist at the moment, and it is going to have a bunch of stuff from this year, of course, that was the most listened to by far.
Now, we have 20 songs on here, so we're gonna try and do this lightning style.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna do the same format that we've done before. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1, and say bop or flop at the same time. If we get into a big disagreement, we'll try and
We're gonna
wrap it
fight
up
to the
on
death
yeah,
on air.
We're gonna take swords and fight each other. We're gonna try and wrap it up relatively quickly because we do have a good amount of these on here. But let's get to it. First song on here, Sabrina Carpenter, Espresso. 3, 2, 1, bop.
Bop. Oh, yeah.
Considerably a bop.
Definitely a bop. I mean, this song went crazy, and
Yeah.
everybody listened to it nonstop.
One of the songs of the summer of
Easy.
2024.
Easily.
Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Die with a Smile. 3, 2, 1, flop.
Oh, okay.
Now, I love Lady Gaga, and I like Bruno Mars. I did not like this song.
It was all right. I honestly, if there was an option in between bop and flop, I'd pick that one.
Midski.
Yeah, okay, it's a midski, but like I wouldn't say it was a flop, but I wouldn't call it like a, oh my god, it's a bop.
Billie Eilish, Birds of a Feather. 3, 2, 1, flop.
Oh, interesting.
I thought it's a good change of pace for her. I thought her really slow songs on her second album were not my cup of tea.
Okay.
And I was happy to see her earn her flowers this year.
Oh no, it's a beautiful song, but just not something that I like from Billie. I like more of the fast-paced stuff. That's all.
Benson Boone, These Beautiful Things. 3, 2, 1,
Flop.
flop. Major flop.
Annoying.
Probably one of my
Annoying.
least favorite songs of the year. Sorry, not sorry at all. I did see a video where his like girlfriend or friend from like middle school though like went to a concert, and I don't know.
Stalk her much? Damn.
No, like I think she just like went and it was like, yo, like what's your name? And she's like, I don't know, like Lauren or something. I'm like,
Lauren.
Lauren, and he's like, yo, like we dated in like middle school, and the whole like crowd cheers. And he's like, hope you're doing okay or whatever. Like he didn't seem like an asshole. So
Okay, good for you, Benson. Is that his name? Benson?
Benson Boone.
Yeah, good for you, Benson.
How about Chapel Roan, Good Luck Babe? 3, 2, 1,
Bop. Not the most bop. I think her 2023 stuff was way better,
I think this was like
but it's a good one.
this was one of the websites out there, one of the media, I think maybe Pitchfork. This was their song of the year.
Really?
Like #1 song of the entire year.
Wow. I mean, yeah, she blew up the last like year and a half. So
Yeah, she's been killing it.
Mhm.
Sabrina Carpenter comes in again with Please, Please, Please. 3, 2, 1,
Flop.
flop.
Wow. I Espresso was a banger.
Yeah,
I-
what
I-
about this one is...
It's just like boring. There's nothing really to it. It seems empty in terms of musical production. Like there's not really much happening in terms of like compare that to Espresso. Like the bass line
totally get
was awesome.
that.
Like, it's just boring.
Yeah, I like how the synths are almost like bouncy, and
Yeah.
they remind me of like I get these like weird like I don't know how to explain it. They're textured very well.
Mm-hmm.
They're almost like cubical, like in nature. They're very like angular and edged. They're
That might be just you brain.
I don't
thing,
know. I
like-
don't know how to explain it. They're not smooth. They're very like staccato like, and very stylistic. I don't know.
I think I can pick up what you're throwing down.
I like it. Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us. 3, 2, 1,
Bop.
bop. Whip, 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 it.
Yeah, the beat for that.
Mustard
was
on the
fantastic.
beat. Yeah, amazing. No words for that. Bruno Mars and Rosé, APT. 3, 2, 1, flop.
I don't really recall hearing it this much. Like all these songs that we mentioned so far took over music.
I don't like it just because the lyrics do not sound like. Like I know they're speaking. I think it's Korean, right?
I don't know.
I think it sounds like I popped out my tit, and like it's really it. I just can't get that out of my head. I'm sorry. Is it?
Shout out to Rosé.
I think it is Korean. I need to make sure that's correct. Yes, Korean.
She's a K-pop artist.
She's a
right?
K-pop artist from Blackpink. Yes, that I should have made that connection.
Well,
Yeah, not that great. Let's go to our next song. We've got Sabrina Carpenter on here again with Taste. 3, 2, 1,
Flop.
bop. Wow.
it was. I just honestly,
So-
comparing it to the song of the summer, it just wasn't.
This is
It was like it's a good song, but it wasn't like a bop.
this is
So there
my
you go.
favorite Sabrina Carpenter song on the record.
Really?
I don't know what it is. I think the melody and the chorus is really great. Really strong songwriting from her. Yeah, interesting. How about Yes and Ariana Grande? 3, 2, 1, flop.
I don't know.
You don't know.
No, I don't. This is like not a really a memorable one for me.
So like mid?
I honestly I'm gonna abstain from voting.
Abstain from the vote.
I
You're gonna vote absent.
no content, no confidence. I mean, it's just not really memorable. Like if you were to quiz me on what it
Okay,
sounds
you
like right now,
politician.
if you were to if you were to quiz me on what it sounds like right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Sorry, Ariana.
How about Fortnite Battle Royale? Fortnite by Taylor Swift. 3, 2, 1, flop.
Sorry,
No.
sorry. Like Taylor's got heat. This one was just kind of again boring. Like
Post Malone.
Post Malone was good on it. I guess she was fine on it. It's just like it wasn't a bop. It was a fine song, it just wasn't a bop. I think her obviously her earlier stuff is way better than this.
I genuinely root for Post Malone. I feel like he is
He
a
seems
cool
like a
guy.
cool guy, yeah.
But not on this one.
Yeah,
How about Post Malone and Morgan Wallen?
it's Wallen.
Wallen?
Yes.
Morgan Wallen. He's
Correct.
wailing. I had
Hey,
some
nice
help.
save. There you go.
I had some help. 3, 2, 1,
Bop.
bop.
I enjoy this transition of Post Malone into like if you think about like where he started to where he is now.
Totally.
It's confusing, honestly.
It is, but he has a space.
I've been popping pillies and
Yeah, really.
loving you like a rock star.
Rock star to cowboy.
Yeah, strange but cool. Yeah, good job.
Tommy Richmond with $1 Million Baby. You gave me the shrug. You're not going to tell me that you don't know this one.
The name it just doesn't ring.
I don't understand.
Oh, I never knew that was the name of it. Okay, yeah, okay. I
I
know.
was like, you're really going to make me bust out the impression. 3, 2, 1,
Flop.
flop. I hate that song.
It was annoying. It was all over every social media post for so long.
That's why I
Like,
was like, there's no way you don't know this.
yeah, like every TikTok you would scroll through that had nothing to do with each other always had this sound bite to it. Like it would just be like some like wiener dog running around to this song, and then like and then another clip one swipe later would be like a cooking video to this song. It made no sense. Just everybody used it, and it was just jammed into our ears, and it got very annoying. So it put a bad taste in my mouth.
How about Hozier, Too Sweet? 3, 2, 1,
Flop for the exact same reason.
And that might be my least favorite, more than the Benson Boone.
I honestly I think that how do you pronounce it? Is it Hosier or Hosier? It's a age-old question. I don't know. I think it's
I
Hosier.
apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah,
but I've
shout
been doing
out if you're
Hozier.
listening, Hosier or
Yeah.
Hosier. What I think it's Hosier. Whatever. In any case,
Hosier.
it's nowhere near his like best thing. Like it blew up. Obviously, it's got an interesting beat and like feel to it, but it's not his best.
Someone
stuff.
needs to take Hosier to church.
That was a great song.
Thank you. How about
Thank you. Yeah, like you wrote it. Yeah, you're welcome, Hosier.
how about Shabuzi? Bar song in parentheses tipsy. 3, 2, 1.
Bop.
Bop.
This gets the people going.
I
It gets
gotta
the people
give it.
going.
I gotta give it to Shabuzi. The guy again, like you don't want to root against him because he's just like always cheesing, always smiling on
Mhm.
camera, and like he's a Lions fan. He's just like trying to live his life. He's probably just happy to be there.
Yeah.
It's his 3rd day here. He's relatively new, so like whatever. And
It's a crowd pleaser. This song.
me and my wife made a cool dance move to this song, so I'm partial.
Well,
to
isn't that adorable?
it. Cute, right?
Yeah.
3, 360 by Charlie XCX. 3, 2, 1, bop.
Bumping that.
This is the one song from the album that I will say I actively listen to. Other than that, I don't really return to it. I wasn't a Brat stan this year.
So you didn't have a Brat summer?
I didn't have a Brat summer, and I don't want to give away what album I did have a summer of, but we'll get into that. How about Texas Hold'em by Beyonce? Is it Texas or is it Ain't Texas?
Are you asking me a
This
question?
ain't Texas.
Oh.
3, 2, 1,
Bop.
flop.
Wow. I think this one, because it's Beyonce, like it had such a big impact on pop culture. And when she dove into country, like everyone was like, "Oh shit!" But a lot of people were like, "It's Beyonce, yeah, what country music?" But she killed it with like adding her own flair to the genre, and she did great. And this is like the song from the album. Shout out to that last football game on Christmas. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, great performance too, and totally fair points. I think the reason I didn't mesh with it was because I was on vacation in Texas when this song came out.
Nice.
So like, I'm a huge Yankee fan. Sad World Series losers, second place, the first loser. If you're not first, you're last. I was in Houston to see the opening day of the Yankees. I went to the first 2 games. They won. Great time. But also being in that stadium with that song out and being in the like city of Houston where Beyonce is from, like during that time, was I heard that song way too much.
Of course.
Way too much. So flop for me. Houdini, Dua Lipa. 3, 2, 1,
Flop.
flop.
I said flop because it's a great song, but I'm comparing it to other songs that were on the newer album. It was just like one of the singles that blew up on like the radio and stuff like that. It bangs, but
Great.
it's more comparison for me. Illusion on that album is way better.
2020 record was better.
Oh yeah, Future Nostalgia was fantastic.
Super good. And the last song here that we're gonna round out with, Kendrick Lamar, Luther. 3, 2, 1, bop. When you sample Luther Vandross, you know you're getting the soul, the R&B. SZA does a great job with her vocals on here, and Kendrick is as smooth as ever, taking that victory lap.
Oh yeah.
So without further ado, why don't we get to it? We're going to go into our gold medal winner.
Oh, wait, no.
Oh!
Wait, no.
You're
After
right.
bop and flop, instead of going to... We're actually doing the complete opposite of that, Jake.
I totally forgot. I'm so excited to talk about this record that I just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
We have 2 more to talk about before we get there. Take it away.
So instead of talking about the best of the best in our opinions, we're going to talk about the worst of the worst. We talked about the bops. Let's talk about the flops. And this is what, instead of talking about the best of 2024, out of the stuff that came out in 2024 that we listened to, what was the worst that came out? So you want to start off what the worst listening experience for you was in 2024?
My worst listening experience in 2024 was in January when the year started.
Interesting.
It was a really sour start to the year. Kid Cudi, Insano, was the worst album I listened to this year.
Ouch.
January 12th, 2024. I listened to this on my way back from work in February. And I swear to you all that this is not an album worth even opening. I like Kid Cudi. I like some of his music. I liked Kid See Ghosts for all what it's worth.
Yeah.
Lonely Stoner, great song. But I did not like this record, and I am not going to play it again.
Well, I'm sorry you felt that way. I personally didn't listen to it, but based on that
Please
review,
don't.
I probably won't waste my time if that's how you feel about it. And
Brian,
I value your opinion very much, Jake.
what's in your trash bin?
In my trash bin, the worst of my 2024 was, I don't remember when this was released month-wise. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think it, no, it does not say. Anyway, maybe you can help me out with it when I say. The worst listening experience for 2024 for me was Only God Was Above Us by Vampire Weekend.
Oh, what? Wow.
Snoresville.
Wow.
Snore.
I am dead with that.
This-
That's hysterical.
This album, it seemed like they tried so hard to go back to their '08 self-titled album. Like they wanted to make more stuff like Campus and Bryn. And I was like,
Totally.
okay, I can see where you're going with this, but like it's not those songs, and like it was just like boring, and I was expecting so much more. I enjoyed Father of the Bride, and I was like, okay, you know, Vampire Weekend, they always have like classic good stuff, right? Nope, this was boring. It's
you
like
know-
a lot of songs, it just sounded like he just took his entire fist and punched the piano in random spots with no rhyme or reason, which, like, you know, maybe jazzy kind of works, but like in this style it just did not hit.
So I'm really happy we have this conversation because I felt like I was being too harsh on them. I feel like
Yeah.
I have been being too harsh on them for a while
You think so?
because I can literally I can remember Christmas of like 2009 or 2008 getting those iPod Nanos where you could turn it to the side and it had like the album art, like
Yeah.
the newer version iPod Nanos that everybody had.
Yep.
And like the only album I would listen to on that iPod was the Vampire Weekend self-titled from 2008.
Yeah.
I love that album because it's so sentimental. Looking back, it's not my favorite one of theirs, but I totally agree with you that they were trying to get back to this after not having Rostam anymore after he went solo. I think he did work on this, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought so.
Yeah, they also have work from Dave Fridman, and he's just like a production genius in himself. The Flaming Lips, MGMT, and all that. So they have some names here, but I gotta agree with you, man. It definitely wasn't the worst of what I had this year, but it wasn't one that I went back to after listening to it for the first time.
Yeah.
Not at all. And a lot of people loved it. It has the highest score cumulative on Rate Your Music for all of the Vampire Weekend albums
Which
out
is
there.
I noticed that and I was shocked.
Super crazy. To me, I think they've got it kind of backwards. But, you know, that's the majority opinion.
What are you gonna do?
How about an honorable mention?
Yeah, real quick. Why don't we talk about what briefly what came out in 2024 that we were like, yeah, but it didn't really maybe make the tops of our top list.
Start us off.
Okay. Something that I listened to that I enjoyed very much, but it wasn't like, oh my God, 2024 is now made because this was released. Chromacopia by Tyler, the Creator.
Oh, okay.
It was very, very good. Rhythmically, it was very enjoyable. His rhymes were powerful.
Okay.
You got pretty personal with it. It was good. It was genuinely very good.
I read somewhere that they were like trying to paint the parallel between Tyler, the Creator, and Chromacopia to Kendrick Lamar and Mr. Morale, which was his record from 2022, in the fact that it's more introspective, like kind of taking the mask off, if you
Yeah.
will. Take that shit off.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that
it was
kind
good.
of shit, you know. And I thought that was a good analogy.
Yeah.
Thought
It
that
was
was
very.
cool.
It was solid. It was a solid album.
An honorable mention for me, if I had to pick one, I have so many, but if I want to just highlight one, Flow, Access All Areas. another recent release. This was, I think, November. I think Chromacopia was October.
October
so
or November, something
yeah,
like that.
very recent. Flow is a trio of girls from the Great Britain. They're amazing. They are so good.
They're 2024 Destiny's Child.
2024 Destiny's Child. They're coming to snatch everybody's wigs. I'm telling you, they are the real deal.
Yeah, check them out if you haven't. The
Check is like one of the best songs of the year. Super good.
Oh yeah, it really hits. Go check that out. That album's so good.
Now, without further ado,
There we go.
because again, so excited to talk about the #1 gold medal winners
Gold.
for 2024. Brian, you want to start us off?
I'd love to. Drum roll. The gold medalist, the Simone Biles of 2024 for me was Pulsar by Les Patrices.
L'Imperatrice.
If I'm pronouncing that right. It is a French band, if you haven't heard of them before.
June of this year.
June, yeah, so later on. And, oh, man, did I listen to this album nonstop. It's so funky. It has that electronic hook that you really need. Could you check what the three genres were on that
Sure.
for me? That was a good idea that you had before.
Absolutely.
Hit me with that. The album is so good. Now, most of the songs are in French. Hey, Jake, ask me if I speak French.
You speak French,
no,
Brian?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
No, I enjoyed it so much. I had
Doesn't
no
matter.
idea what they were saying, and I enjoyed it so much.
So those three genres you were looking for, Brian, are new disco,
Yep.
French pop,
Yep.
and dance pop.
Yep.
Which one do you think most describes
Dance pop.
Dance pop.
Dance pop, honestly,
Dance pop.
dance pop, and then a really close second to those genres is new disco. The basses in that is just amazing.
What's
It's
your
very funky.
favorite track from Pulsar?
Ooh, my favorite.
Because I know mine.
My favorite track on Pulsar. It might be "Girl." It might be "Girl." That song is so good. Or, I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this album so much. So front to back, it is just heat after heat.
I think my favorite track from that is Pulsar.
Mhm.
That's the last track of the album, but close second is Amor Ex Machina.
Yes.
Great song.
So yeah, that's my for sure gold. Go ahead and check that album out. The album art is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Also, it's like this robot chrome hand with a
Yeah.
monarch butterfly in space. Like,
It's
what
actually-
the hell?
Yeah, I was gonna comment on the album art of mine too. Yeah, I like this. I like this because it's like a glowing robot arm. It almost reminds me of a Daft Punk, which is
Yes.
that other
Yes.
French
Mhm.
disco band that everybody knows, and that lovely butterfly right there.
Yeah, fantastic. Go ahead and check it out. Jake, who's your Simone Biles?
My Simone Biles.
Who's your Michael Phelps?
My Simone Biles, Michael Phelps. My duo of 2024. They absolutely took this year and, in my book right now, the decade for album of the year and
That's high
album of the
praise.
decade so far is Magdalena Bay with Imaginal Disc.
Hello.
Now, it's you. So here's the thing, right? I could go and name all of the highlights here, all the tracks, but then I'd name all the tracks. So I don't want to do that. But what I do want to tell you is some of the things that I enjoy about it. The storytelling is fantastic. The production is fantastic. I don't think I've heard more interesting production on a pop record ever than this record. The synths are at times super soft, at other times super blaring and in your face, a la Jessie Ware, a la Kylie Minogue, a la Pet Shop Boys,
A la vodka.
a la Vodka. You ruined it.
Sorry. It was staring me in the face. I could not. Sorry, please continue.
I don't even know where to go from there. Everything about this record is absolutely engaging and euphoric and exciting. There are parts of this record that swell, parts of this record that move. I believe the top 3 genres of this record are synth pop, which I think is like probably the most apt, neo psychedelia, which just goes to show of how much is going on, how much this music moves, where it's like, you know, that psychoactive feeling, you know what I mean, where the music is moving or speaking to you, right? And chillwave, which, you know, perfectly describes those interlude songs and parts throughout where they slow it down a little bit. It is by far one of the best listening experiences I've ever had. I listened to this for the first time on a balcony in France, in Paris.
Jake's a fancy guy, everybody. He's fancy.
I was on my honeymoon, all right? I had a reason to be fancy once in my life.
Fine.
It is amazing.
Did you cry?
I did not cry. There are very few albums that I've had that much of a emotional reaction to.
Yeah.
And
there's an episode, albums that made us
sob like a baby, like a dog. Yeah, I will definitely get thinking into what those are. But Imaginal Disc by Magdalena Bay.
Beautiful.
I don't even want to think about when the next album is coming out because I'm not done with this one yet.
Do you have a favorite track from this album?
Favorite track from here is Image. It's the second single that came out from the record after Death and Romance. And it is a disco bop. And shout out to them performing it beautifully on Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, they played on Jimmy Kimmel?
Yes, they did.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, killed it. Thank you, Jimmy Kimmel, for giving Magdalena Bay the space to perform.
Yeah. My favorite track on this is one of the interludes, honestly. It's just so beautiful. True Blue interlude is gorgeous. Like, I just feel an emotional release when I listen to that song. It's so relaxing. Like,
it's like a pump-up.
No. Well, the opposite of a pump-up.
You're you, dude. You keep doing you.
It's the opposite of a pump-up. It's
yourself.
like a yeah, love that.
Believe
in
yourself.
If you're feeling down, listen to the True Blue interlude, and I guess the whole album. It's really good. But
Please
listen
do.
to that first if you're feeling down. Well, what a 2024 we lived in, and these recommendations that we had here are the best and the worst of 2024. Avoid the worst. Check out the best. Do yourself a favor. But let's round off our episode here with one last recommendation to bring in 2025. How about that? These are good albums to listen to start your year off right. Jake, what should we listen to bring in the 2025?
I'm gonna hit you with a Sophistopop record.
Ooh.
From 2016. We've got Ice Choir's Designs in Rhythm.
What an album.
This is a sophistopop, synth pop, city pop kind of blend here that was released in September of 2016. It's lush. It's energetic. It's a Kurt Feldman project. Shout out to Kurt Feldman. It's almost like... It's just a fantastic tribute to the 80s synth pop sound. And one of the coolest cover arts I've ever seen in my life. It's just like the perfect like Japanese city pop kind of 1980s utopian drawing that you see out there.
Yeah, it's cool. It's funny that you bring up Sophistopop, because my recommendation for you to start off 2025 is also a Sophistopop, indie pop, dream pop, jangle pop album. 2019's All Together by Turnover.
Great record.
An unbelievable sound. Chills throughout. If you want just this nice, smooth vocals with some great synths and pop, jazz aspects to it too. Like, oh man, it's fantastic.
It almost reminds me of their well, it is more like their third record, Good Nature, right?
Yes.
Which is probably my favorite of their discography. They took like such a big turn after Peripheral Vision.
Another fantastic album, but
yeah,
way different than what their other
but
stuff
going
is.
from almost that like emo indie rock
Yeah.
to like the much more laid back, like jazzy indie rock, breezy kind of.
Yeah.
It almost kind of is like bordering on yacht rock at times.
Yeah,
Is
I can
it
see
not?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes it all the more
Explains
amazing.
why they're amazing.
Yeah. So go ahead and check out those albums to start off 2025 right.
Thank you all for listening to the Q Music Review Podcast. Please make sure that you check out all of our social media accounts and visit our website to read more about some of the albums we've been listening to and check out some of the lists that we'll be putting up there for our best of 2024 and best of 2020s so far.
Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Peace.